Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. Today has been one of the busiest news days on NoDQ.com for the entire year. So make sure you stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding the Summerslam pay-per-view and the fallout from Summerslam. Got your questions today. Tomorrow I will be answering your Raw questions, but for now I have your SummerSlam questions to answer as well as other topics to cover, so let's get down to it. First one today comes from NoDQ&A fan. Hey Aaron, where would you rank this year's SummerSlam? In my opinion, it went downhill after John Cena versus AJ Styles. I would agree with you about Cena and Styles. I felt that this year's SummerSlam was very much a mixed bag, and as I talked about in the review video, it was just too damn long. It wasn't a good SummerSlam. It wasn't a bad SummerSlam. It was just a long SummerSlam, and that's what I felt really hurt the show. If you took the best 2.5 hours of SummerSlam and put it into one condensed show like a Hulu version, then I would have given SummerSlam a thumbs up. If you're judging it as a 4-hour show, then I would give it a thumbs middle. And if you're judging it as a 6-hour show, I would lead towards a thumbs down. So for me, it was somewhere in the middle, maybe slightly below average when you compare it to all the other SummerSlams over the years. Got this one here from #PogBack. What did you think of the order of matches at SummerSlam? How can they put the United States title after the WWE Championship? I was definitely scratching my head at how WWE booked this show and the order of matches. Now, there are certain circumstances that can change things. I wasn't sure why Sasha Banks and Charlotte had to go on so early, but clearly if Sasha Banks was hurt and she was dropping the title, then it made more sense for that to go on early. I always feel that WWE should end the show with what fans are looking forward to the most, and that was either Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar or Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. A lot of people feel that Rollins versus Balor should have gone on last, not just because that was the match that a lot of fans were anticipating the most, but also because it was for a new world championship. WWE's viewpoint is that Lesnar versus Orton was the box office draw, and that's why it should have been in the main event slot. But I do feel it's important to end the show on a high note, with fans being able to go home happy. And the problem with Orton and Lesnar is that it was a very unorthodox angle by WWE standards. We rarely see TKOs and those types of situations where a match is just stopped by the referee. And a lot of people criticized that ending. I liked it, as I mentioned in the review video, but I know a lot of people did not. And it would have been safer to go with a happy ending like Balor winning the title, or even AJ versus Cena. I know a lot of people were saying AJ versus Cena should have gone on last because that was the match that had the most crowd heat, and AJ winning, no doubt, despite him being a heel, would have sent the fans home happy and given them the happy ending that they wanted. So yeah, perhaps WWE could have done it better, but as the saying goes, hindsight is 20/20. This one comes from DK Cobra. Why wasn't the Seth Rollins-Finn Balor match the main event? Like I said, I think it was because WWE wanted to have the box office attraction, Brock Lesnar, be in the main event. And you have to keep in mind, WWE is paying Brock Lesnar a ton of money. He is making millions of dollars for a very limited schedule. So when WWE does use Brock Lesnar, they want him to be the main event. And that's just the way it is. With the amount of money that WWE is paying him, they do not feel that they should be putting him in the middle of the card. They want to put him in the main event spot as the feature attraction and really get their return on their investment. They're investing a lot of money in him. So they want fans to know that this is the attraction, and thus he's in the main event. Does it devalue the titles? Absolutely. When the world title is in the middle of the show, and the Universal title is not even the main event, yeah, it does devalue those titles a bit, but that's the way it is. You know, Vince Russo said it years ago, the titles are just props, and really that's what they are. They should be treated as something more than just props, but at the end of the day, WWE feels that the titles are not going to make or break the business. It's rather having a main event that people really want to see, whether a title is on the line or not. This one comes from Daniel Jobber. Do you think they should have made Brock Lesnar look so strong when many feel he should have been suspended? Again, Brock Lesnar is WWE's top attraction, or one of the top attractions. They're paying him a ton of money, and they see dollar signs in protecting him and keeping him this big draw, and they're going to stretch it out for as long as possible. Lesnar still has considerable time left on his WWE contract. He's not going anywhere, and WWE's hopeful that the heat will die down from the UFC 200 controversy, and they can continue to book Brock Lesnar as this unstoppable monster and this special attraction that can make a huge difference with the company in terms of increasing the network subscriptions and just giving the company more overall buzz and more mainstream publicity. So that's why WWE continues to protect their investment. I figured that once WWE was not going to punish Lesnar by suspending him, that it was also unlikely they would punish him by having Randy Orton go over at the pay-per-view. Brock Lesnar is being paid a ton of money by WWE, and all it does is water down Lesnar if he loses. And WWE feels they need to justify Brock Lesnar's hefty contract, and they need to protect their investment. So unless Lesnar does something really dastardly, I doubt that WWE is going to change their long-term plans for Brock Lesnar. Got this one here from Sue Thang. How do you feel about SummerSlam being so heel heavy? I was a little surprised. Maybe so many heels won just because of the circumstances, like with Sasha Banks being hurt. If Sasha wasn't hurt, I think she almost certainly would have won against Charlotte. Maybe that did hurt the crowd heat a little bit. When you have one downer moment after another, that can hurt the crowd. But I think the main reason that the crowd got quiet as the show went on was just because of the fact that the show was so long. So, you know, I really didn't feel that the heels winning a lot really made that much of a difference on this show. It's good to have a nice mixed bag and have 50-50 as much as possible. Heels winning some matches, faces winning sometimes. What's important is having the faces win when it makes sense in the storyline, and having the heels win when it makes sense in the storyline. Got this one here from Ben W. Murray. What did you think about WWE teasing Finn Balor and the club coming together? Could it happen? I doubt it. I think it was just a nice little nod to the past, since this was a dual branded show. You could do this little skit with the 4 club members from back in the day reuniting and do that little tease with Finn Balor. I think it was just a throwback. I really don't feel it was planting the seeds for a future storyline. And like I said, Finn Balor is perfect as a babyface right now. No need to change his character. Anderson and Gallows are effective as heels right now. No need for those guys to be paired up at this stage of the game. So I think it was just a nice little throwback, and that was it. Got this one here from Ben Jones. What did you think of the JBL comment on Conor McGregor? I think it's petty by WWE to keep bringing up Conor McGregor. I think they're just trying to get publicity, and maybe it's some bitterness. Maybe some people are upset about Conor McGregor's comments. I mean, who cares? Who cares what Conor McGregor had to say? Really, all he was doing was trying to generate publicity for his own fight. And he won his fight. And now WWE's continuing to take shots at him. What's the point? It's really accomplishing nothing at this time. So I did feel it came off as petty for JBL to make that comment. Although I would love to see JBL versus Conor in a real fight. I would buy a ticket for that one, just to see JBL get his lights knocked out. Got this one here from Eric. Do you think Brock Lesnar versus Nakamura could ever happen or be decent in WWE like Japan, or would it be a squash match at best? It's interesting because people expect to see Brock Lesnar against guys his size. You want to see the irresistible force meeting the immovable object. I'm not sure how Lesnar versus Nakamura would work, if it would really be believable that a guy like Nakamura could take somebody like Brock Lesnar. As tough as Nakamura is, I question if it would be all that believable. For some people, I think it would work, but for others, I think there would be believability issues. It just depends. You know, some people thought Rey Mysterio was a perfect fit for guys like Kane and Big Show and all that. Others felt that there's no way in hell that somebody like Rey Mysterio should be going over somebody like Kane. So it's just a matter of your own personal tastes and what you think is believable and what you think is not believable. I think that if any small guy could make it work, it would be Nakamura. He's definitely capable enough of making it believable. Somebody like Daniel Bryan, I think, could have been a believable challenger to Brock Lesnar despite his size, although the plan in WWE was always for Lesnar to beat Bryan. I think that guys like Bryan and Nakamura, there are a few exceptions. There are guys that are good enough that they could make it somewhat believable that they could slay the giant beast. You know, it's the old David versus Goliath story. And there are a few guys that I think are good enough to make it work, to some degree at least. Got this one here from Sohail. If Undertaker wrestles at WrestleMania 33, who would you like to see him face other than the most probable option, John Cena? That's a good question. If Undertaker's not facing John Cena, I'm not really sure I want to see Undertaker compete again. I'm really over it. I feel it's unnecessary. I suppose Undertaker versus Finn Balor might be interesting. That might break the record for the longest combined entrance in WWE history for WrestleMania. But I think that it would be an interesting dynamic between these two characters, the Dead Man and the Demon King. That might be interesting. But beyond that, I'm over the idea of Undertaker wrestling. I think Undertaker versus Cena would be huge. And maybe Undertaker versus Kevin Owens might be an interesting choice if Owens is booked like a monster. But you would really need to build up Owens a lot for me to want to see that match. I mean, Owens would need to just go on a complete rampage, destroying people left and right for me to really be invested in that match. This one comes from Danny. Do you see The Undertaker wrestling at next year's WrestleMania 33? If so, against who? That is up in the air right now. I think Undertaker will likely continue to wrestle at WrestleMania as long as he's physically able to do it. I mean, if he was going to retire, he should have just retired after losing the streak at WrestleMania 30. At this point, he might as well just keep going, even though, like I said in the previous question, I really don't have that much personal interest in seeing Undertaker wrestle again. But from his standpoint, I could see him wanting to keep doing it as long as he's healthy. If he can come back for one match every year and be a special attraction, then from his perspective, why not? And as far as who he faces next year, I think it should be John Cena. If Undertaker is healthy and Cena's healthy, I think that's the match you do for next year. Got this one here from Hallowed Halls. Do you think the quality and effectiveness of WWE superstar themes is better or worse than the Attitude Era? I've been a huge fan of Jim Johnston for years. I think he's done some tremendous work with theme songs, but I have to say, CFOs are doing great stuff right now. I feel that these current theme songs that we're hearing in NXT and on the main roster are some of the best WWE theme songs that the company has ever produced, period, from any era. Just as good, if not better, than stuff that Jimmy Hart was putting out or Jim Johnston was putting out. I would say the themes now are even better than the Attitude Era. I mean, with a few exceptions. I mean, Stone Cold's theme is one of a kind. The Rock's theme, there are a lot of great ones, but I love Nakamura's theme. I think Bobby Roode's theme is one of the best theme songs of the past decade. Finn Balor as well. I mean, these are some really awesome theme songs that CFOs have been coming up with. So it's really hard to say. I mean, once again, it just comes right down to your taste and what you personally prefer. I think they're neck and neck. Very close. Alright, that'll wrap it up for this edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Stay tuned. I will be back tomorrow with another edition of No DQ&A video. Make sure you check out my Summerslam review video with David Payne. I appreciate the feedback from you guys. Maybe we'll have David on for more videos. And again, stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding the Summerslam fallout, and I will see you guys next time.